Hi, hello everyone. Welcome to my YouTube channel, that is Study Gate by PK. Here we are continuing our discussion of 11th NCERT Political Theory second chapter, that is Freedom. It is our second part and it might be the last part of this chapter itself. So here we are going to discuss a new topic, that is harm principle. So we should know that John Stuart Mill had he had discussed some issue on his essay called on liberty. His essay name is On Liberty. That particular issue in political theory have another name. That name is harm principle. We are going to discuss about harm principle. So here is a quote given by him. You can read it. Next, what Mill is saying that there are two types of actions. Mill is saying that there are two types of actions. One is self-regarding action and another one is other regarding action. What is the difference between these two? Self-regarding actions are those actions whose consequence, that means if the consequence is negative, that consequence will be only causing to that particular individual who is doing that particular action. It won't affect any other individual. That type of actions are known as self-regarding action. So in self-regarding action, there is no need of external authority to interfere in his or her matter, because the consequence is totally accepted by that individual only. It is never causing any harm to others. Next one is other regarding action. In this other regarding actions, if the impact is negative, it might cause the harm to other people also. So for protecting other people's freedom, definitely external authority should interrupt there. So that is the difference between the self-regarding actions and other regarding action. Next, we all know that in a human society, for leading a dignified human life, definitely we need the freedom concept. Okay. But here Mill says that in other regarding action, the consequence must be in two sections. One is minor harm may be there, or another is major harm may be there. So what Mill is saying that if the thing is causing minor harm, the society can forgive that individual. Or we do not want to drag the political laws, we do not want to drag police or external authorities for curbing the freedom of that individual who is causing this just because he caused a minor harm. If the minor harm can be forgiven by the society, we can bear. We do not want to drag the external authority in that case. It is the statement by John Stuart Mill. So he says that, for example, if he is saying if a person is if a person is playing loud music in an apartment, the other people in the around his apartment may feel some inconvenience, but they can show that inconvenience by showing social disapproval to that particular person. They may be showing this social disapproval by going to his apartment and say, you should play this, not this much volume, you should lower it, otherwise it may cause serious impact to us. By saying that, we can reduce that impact. Or by if he otherwise he is not accepting our plea, then also we can show some negative, that means we refuse to greet that person, or we disagree to move with that person, or we disagree to talk with that person. That means in that way, in social disapproval, we can say that we are not accepting what you are doing. It is not necessary that in that minor case also we should drag the politics or government in that case. But if the person is causing major harm, or if the person is spreading hate about oneself, definitely we can use the help of external authority or laws, because it is causing major harm. It might cost our life also. So we can take the help of law. In that case, okay, the help is can be taken. So here he is saying, John Stuart Mill is saying that if the harm is minor, we can use social disapproval by us to say that what you are doing is not good. It is not necessary that legal punishment should be given. Okay. Why we are doing just social disapproval? Why we are not going to legal punishment in the case of minor harm according to John Stuart Mill? Because if we are bearing some of the inconvenience, what we are in turn doing, we are protecting their freedom. If we are directly moving to law, if we are directly involving the law to that case, definitely he or she might get arrested, or he or she might be want to pay fine. So their freedom is curbed in some stages. So protecting their freedom, we are bearing some inconvenience in the case of minor harm. Okay. Next, what is saying that there is an example of hate campaign. Similarly, if a person is doing some hate campaign, what we can say, we can approach the person and say that what you are doing is not good, you should not do these things. Okay, we can show a social disapproval. If he is again continuing that, what we can say, we can take the help of law. And this law does not do life imprisonment, like those huge things should not be imposed on that person. At first, the law should give some warning that you should not do these type of campaigns in public places, or you cannot move to these places or do this type of, some restriction can be given in his movement, some curtailment to his right to hold public meeting can be done, some warnings can be done without imposing life imprisonment. Like such cruel things we cannot impose at first, because just he is doing a hate campaign. First we can give warning, second we can say that you should not do this, you cannot move to this, if you are doing this you want to pay fine, like that we can say. But instead of that, if you are giving life imprisonment, it is not a clear way according to John Stuart Mill. In Indian Constitution also there is a term which is used for these kind of things, that is what? Reasonable restriction. What is reasonable restrictions? Reasonable restrictions are those restrictions which are provided by our constitution and it is capable to defend by reason. That means we won't want to punish a person to that much great extent at the first time itself. Some types of restrictions can be imposed to that person at the initial stages of what he is doing based on some reasons. It is not necessary that we should give excessive punishment at the first place also. So there in our Indian Constitution, for those restrictions, the term is reasonable restriction. Next, there are two types of liberty. One is positive liberty and another one is negative liberty. So we had already discussed that freedom have two dimensions. One is the absence of external constraints and another is the expansion of opportunity to express oneself. What do you mean by negative and positive liberty? The name negative liberty and positive liberty does not mean that this is negative one and this is positive one. No, it is different accept. The name is just given as negative liberty and positive liberty. What is negative liberty is that means for a person, for an individual, there must be an area where some matters are included where he or she can take her or his own decision. No other individual, no other external authority should interfere in this area. That means the things which are concerned in this area can be taken decision by that particular individual only. That area cannot be crossed by other people. That minimum area of non-interference is known as, recognized as negative liberty. The concern is that in that minimum area, how much size of that minimum area should be, what are the matters we should include in that minimum area where they can take decision independently without the involvement of second person. Okay, we know that if this is the minimum area of interference, for example, if it contains 2 to 4 matters, and if this is the minimum area of interference and it contains approximately 100 matters, so definitely we said this area is having more freedom to that individual. As the size and the matter included in that area increases, we say that we are getting more freedom. So the concern about this thing is that how much matter should be included in that particular area. What are the things which we can make individual choices? For example, if we are taking the example of wearing clothes, we are wearing clothes in different situations, school, playground, office, etc. And these cloth wearing, whether this cloth wearing belongs to that minimum area of non-interference and we can take decision, or other authorities should take the decision. What happens in school, etc. is that they take the decision which type of cloth we want to wear. It is not our choice what we want to wear to school. So wearing clothes, whether this belong to minimum area of non-interference or not. If we are taking another example of this case, over what area I am master, that means over what area I can take individual decision, over what area I am the master and I have freedom in this area. What are the areas I have total freedom from. That are the things which are related to negative liberty. That is that concept. Next we are going with the concept of positive liberty. Here we already know that negative liberty is totally concerned about an individual, but here positive liberty, it is concerned about the relationship between an individual and the society. If we are taking the example of a flower, the flower can only bloom when the soil is fertile, when the sunlight availability is okay, when the water is getting enough, then only all other physical condition, all other external condition, if it is favors the flower, then only the flower will bloom. Just like that, if an individual want to increase his capability, or if an individual want to develop, all the external matter which concerns him, for example in the case of social sector, or in the case of political sector, or in the case of material sector, that means basic facilities such as education, healthcare, food, water, etc., these all should be favor him. Then only he can increase his development and capacity, then only he can increase his personality. So these all things, the society should help him to move on, and there must be very few constraints, there must be fewer constraints only. This thought, that means the concept of positive liberty, had started from Rousseau, Hegel, Marx, Gandhi, Aurobindo and their followers all had discussed the concern of positive liberty. So positive liberty is the relationship between a particular individual and society. Here the society should provide all the necessary things in social, economical, political, material, every aspect by which the individual can develop his personality with fewer constraints only. That is the concept. The person should get adequate good employment, the person should get adequate material things for, and adequate opportunity in political decision making. Everything should be given by the society to that particular individual to nurture his development. That is the thing. So I think you are getting the point here. The last point is here that both the positive liberty and negative liberty is moving together for an individual. In the case of negative liberty, it is concerned by the individual only. In the case of positive liberty, it is concerned with the relationship of individual and the society. In both these cases, the individual is involved. So here what happens is that both these negative and positive liberty should go on together and should support each other to create a stable society. That is the thing. Next is freedom of expression. What is this freedom of expression? Freedom of expression should be included in the area of non-interference. Right, there is a minimum area of non-interference where a person can take his or her decision, and this freedom of expression should be included in that area. It belongs to that particular area. So here, according to John Stuart Mill, according to J.S. Mill, here freedom of expression is the fundamental value of society. It is a fundamental value of the society, and the society should bear some inconvenience to protect this freedom of expression. For example, every person have his or her different point of view. So we want to accept that what he might be saying will be not acceptable by us, but we should accept that he has his own freedom of expression. So we want to accept it. We want to accept what he is saying, although we disagree with him. So some inconvenience should be borne by the society just to protect the freedom of others also. That is said by J.S. Mill. For example, if we are saying, here we want to remember a Voltaire statement important. I disapprove of what you say, but I will defend to death your right to say it. Okay, might what you are saying I disapprove because my concept is just opposite to your, but what you are saying I will not say that you have no right to say, because you have the right to say and you can say what you feel good. Okay, that is the thing. Here it is an example that, for example, we know that certain books, plays, etc. are banned. Why these books, plays, etc. are banned? Because what these books or plays are saying must be not correct according to some people. So they protest against them and said that they should be banned. Some religious community or some party sector or some political leaders, etc. may say that what they are doing is against our concept. So they are banning these film, etc. But do you think that banning is a necessary activity or it is an easy solution? Never. Banning will never be an easy solution for long term prospect. That means if you are continuously banning it, how much we can ban? That means if you are continuously banning it, it is not at all a good behavior. We will continuously ban it, and how far we can ban a particular item. So what is that? This ban is just a short term solution. If something is happening, some protest is happening, it is just a short term solution for making the protest to come down. That is just a short term thing. It cannot be good for a long term prospect, and it is harmful for a long term prospect also. So what is thing that we should accept? Okay, some of them are saying some different things from our point of view, but we should accept because they also have that freedom to express. That is the thing. Then there is another thing, another concern. In England, if you are, there is a thing that means the people who are working at royal household have some restrictions. That means whatever is happening inside the household, whatever political things are happening inside the household, they can't explore it to the world. That means if a person is doing employment in that particular royal household of England, even after retirement, he or she cannot write any book, he or she cannot give any presentation based on the things which they see or based on the things what happened inside the royal household. So there is a question, is that a constraint to the freedom of expression of the individual? That means every individual have the freedom to express, but in England, a employed person who had employed in the royal household does not have the freedom to express what happens inside the royal household after his retirement or during the period of work. There is a contract there. So there is a question, is this justifiable or is this an unjustifiable constraint on freedom of expression? That is the thing. Okay. Next, if we are moving on, we can say that okay, there are some constraints. There are some constraints are there. These constraints cannot be removed as a whole because some constraints are backed up by some social organization, some religious cultural authority, some state government. Some things, some restrictions are imposed by them, and they have a backing upon that restriction. So these restrictions are difficult to move against. That there are some restrictions. However, if we willingly or for the sake of pursuing our goals or ambition accept certain restriction, our freedom is not similar. Okay, for our betterment, for our goals and ambition, if we are accepting some restriction also, it is not at all the limitation of our freedom. For our goodness, we are accepting some restriction. So it is not a thing which is limiting our freedom. So that is the thing. Next here we are saying that what we mean by freedom of what do you mean by freedom? Freedom means something which is having absence of external constraints. Not only that, freedom is something which help us to increase our capacity and which help us to make individual choices. That is also freedom. But if we are having any freedom or if we are making any choices, the consequence which really happen to that choices should be acceptable to us, right? If a person is making any choices, it can have negative impact or positive impact. Whatever the consequence it might be, the person should accept the consequence. He should be the sole responsible for that consequence. That's why what the actions done by small children, their actions consequence, or the small children should be under the care of parents, because a person can take only decision when he or she is educated well, or when he or she is having good social experiment, then only he or she can make a decision. Although if he or she is making a better decision or a negative decision, the impact can be he or she will be the sole responsible for that impact. But in the case of children, they are not that much grown up. They need more education, more social experience to make individual decision, and if they are making any decision, their consequence cannot be bear by the children. That's why the children should be under the parents until a particular age. That is the thing. So by here, what our chapter is over, but there are some boxed item. I think I will discuss it in next section. So our chapter is as a whole over. There are some box sections such as Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose on freedom, his speech. Then there is John Stuart Mill's 4 reasons for freedom of expression. Then there is about Swaraj. So these three will be covered in our next small video. It will be a very small video. Liberalism is also there to be discussed, so we will cover it in our next video. Thank you all. If you like my video, don't forget to like, share, comment and do subscribe also. Thank you.